on.
We might be on now. I'm not sure.
You mean I said this to a live audience?
And they've all just left.
Oh my God. People, please mail in and tell me if you can't see me.
All right. Says we're live. But why is the video feed not going? Says we're live, but there's no picture.
Is this like radio where there's like a 10-second delay in case I swear?
Mm-hmm. I'm not editing you out.
Son of a biscuit. Is this where you get those like floaty lake things?
Mm-hmm. I added in all this. Well, 3 people watching now.
If any of our subscribers can.
Yeah, I'm not getting a... It's called beta test for a reason, guys. 5 people watching.
Now it's increasing.
Yeah, but I don't think the video's going through.
Is sound going through?
If anybody can hear us, jump in the chat.
Let us know.
We're just fucking around.
Trying to get this thing going live. Oh, we lost one.
It's a total failure.
That was 20% of our audience gone.
Yeah.
This is only a test.
There we go.
All right.
We have a picture. Successful.
Hello, everyone.
No sound. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I don't know sign language.
Can you hear us now? We got HD 90 Dog in there. Can you hear us? We're total live stream amateurs.
Yeah, this is a
The title says beta test for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh, sound, no video. Okay, there you go. All right, I guess we're good.
Well, that's good.
All right, thank you, Fernando Sebastian. All right, guys, welcome. We got a couple of you in here. I know it's a weird time to do it. We just
kind
figured,
of
what the fuck?
this. Yeah.
Let's try some live streams. I think we're all fan of live streams. I watch a ton of YouTube channels that are live. Yeah, they're all really cool, and it's been cool to interact with the chat. We're like, fuck it, we got to do it. We keep doing intermittent reaction videos.
You know, like I really like the fact that like our viewer base has just been so active at asking us questions and everything like that. So like it'll be awesome once we get this going and actually gonna be able to interact with you guys live and hopefully either like stump us, get us into like a proper discussion with the fan base.
Looking forward to that too. So yeah, forgive us for any technical glitches here. Still messing with the feed, with the camera, with some of the software here.
Playing around with all the new toys.
I'm just learning. Every time I look for a video tutorial, it's a 12-year-old kid. And then I'm like, all right, this kid's a fucking genius.
You are a phenom.
Yeah. The Meathead Crew's trying to figure it out.
It'll take us a while, people.
Yeah.
Just learn about this thing called YouTube.
Yeah. Thanks, Fernando. Glad you appreciate it. It's a good idea. If you guys got any questions, throw it in. We'll just shoot the shit. We'll grab some random topics. We also we got the super chat rolling too, and we're hoping to make this a weekly thing on the weekend. Do an hour and a half, whatever. Yeah. Some of the bigger news, reviews, get the other guys on too, and interact with.
Yeah, just ask us any questions or anything you want to know about us, about our backgrounds, anything that we've done before. So yeah, again, and you know, throw some information about yourselves out there. Like we're looking to get to know our audience.
What's some of the news that's going out right now? You still haven't seen Black Panther, right?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I know.
Everybody in the world. Yeah. So no Black Panther spoilers in the chat, please.
Please.
Let's see what we got news-wise. I know there's some. Speaking of Campia, I was watching his, and he wouldn't go into detail about it.
Yeah.
But he goes, guys, I have the inside line on some very bad DC news that would be coming down the pipeline.
Oh,
but I'm not in the scoop business. I'm not gonna say what it is. But he just kind of threw.
He's been doing that. Like, okay, now bad news to him though, right? It's gonna be hard to say, right? Because like you look at like he's been a big proponent about restarting the DCEU. Like he just wants to scrap what's been going on.
Yeah.
And just start new. He's like, you know, it's failed. It hasn't worked.
Yeah.
You know,
and the box office kind of proves.
It's really the thing that like it kind of stinks is like you've got like Wonder Woman, who's such a great character.
Yes. Yeah.
Wonder Woman, the standalone movie was awesome.
Yeah.
And she's
definite
such a great
maker.
character.
Yeah.
Man of Steel, I really liked. We've talked about this a bunch of times.
I really like it as well.
I like Man of Steel. Like it's just the whole fact is. I don't see it as any of the actual artists involved or any of the people who are working on the films involved. It seems to be all executive issues. It seems to be like they looks like they've pushed it too quickly. They've tried to race through everything. They threw in a bunch of stuff without getting any build up for the characters whatsoever. And the regular day-to-day fan just hasn't can't jump on board.
Yeah, specifically about Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's I know all that
Batman
stuff. Batman
versus Superman too, even that.
Yeah, I think that was a bit. There was stuff that we really liked, like that, you know, the Flashpoint kind of cameo. A lot of the dark side stuff would have been cool with the Omega symbol stuff. So when you're a comic and you're indoctrinated into the comics, you loved it.
Yeah.
But for other people that, you know, liked the Dark Knight, liked Iron Man 1, actually went to Avengers.
They established a universe.
Yeah, it was too much of a leap for them, and you can't blame them for that, right?
No.
I mean, you know, you want to be able to bring more people into this, but if you go 0 to 60,
yeah, right,
in 2 movies, then it
doesn't work.
It confuses people, and then Justice League compounded the fact because now you had Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash all in the run, and then it's just really a shame that the original vision that Snyder had.
Didn't come to fruition.
Because I think he did have those backstory elements in there. Like, just look at the trailers for Justice League.
Yeah,
there's so much stuff of you know, Ray Fisher pre, you know, cyborg transformation in the football outfit. There's a Flash rescue scene where he rescues Iris West.
Yeah, there
was a lot of that background stuff there that was just intended for a longer cut.
Longer cuts or more movies, like guys. We should have done more movies. Like you've got like, and I know that they were planning to do the standalones, but like you look at the Avenger formula, it was standalone, bring them together. You know what I mean? Like here, they're like standalone, bring some of them together. All right, bring the rest of them together.
Yeah.
Like 3 movies isn't enough. Like you know, especially to introduce that wealth of characters, and they were brand new. It's not like they had been established somewhere else. They hadn't been established on television. They hadn't been established anywhere, or these people playing them. Obviously, the characters have been well established through comics, but not everybody who goes to these movies are comic readers, and you can't expect them to. These people these characters have been part of our folklore now, and they're almost oral tradition or very minute like television tradition. Like you can't expect people to know 100% of their background.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, because there's plenty of other characters that I know very small amounts of, and then you watch the movie, like, wow, this guy's cool. I wanna know more.
Yeah,
but not to spoil anything from Black Panther, but I didn't know very much of the Jabari tribe or some of these other tribes and characters that were out there. I always heard them referenced, but I didn't really know. I didn't know any history on Killmonger, who's the main villain. And wait till you see Black Panther. Like the villains were legit,
so they established
really
it, and the thing is like, and like that's the characters like DC like. I guess to people who don't know, it's like the wealth of characters, and the whole thing is, it's like they don't. Their wealth is actually in their villains.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really don't think that like, as another completely sidebar to rushing the whole thing, is like they also rushed villains, and they threw in villains that were very, like, again, only the astute comic book guys would know them. Like these guys, like Steppenwolf and stuff like that. Not like, there's been no cartoons. There's been no other. There's been no other introduction to them outside of the comic books. Yeah. Like, like you can get, like, like Lex Luthor has been introduced over and over again in different aspects. He's been on television. He's been on cartoons. Yeah. He's been, like,
even just with the Arkham games, right? Like that, I'm sure for a whole generation of kids growing up, the Arkham games were probably the first interaction.
And they're great though. Like they're great at introducing characters and the villains. Like so. Here you throw in a bunch of villains who they're great villains, and don't get me wrong, like in the comic books they work and you love them, but they have there's no resonance with the general audience whatsoever.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, and the Marvel movies, they had a few movies to get you up into this cosmic idea. Exactly. So when these aliens finally did come in from space and invade Earth, and the first Avengers team up, you kind of understood the weight of it.
You understood the weight of it. Like they were introduced, like, again, very early on in those and whether it be like post credit scenes or whatever, they were hinted at and they were built. The problem is DC almost kind of goes in assuming. Or I shouldn't say DC, or DC, the whole organization comes in assuming that everybody knows everything about these comic books, and people don't. People don't know about Steppenwolf. They don't know about Doomsday. They don't know about, like, not the regular day-to-day fan.
Yeah, there was definitely an assumption there of, well, we have the Justice League, people will show up anyway, and Black Panther did in its 3 or 4 day release. As much box office as like a 13 weeks of Justice League.
Yeah.
Who would have ever, if you were a betting man?
Yeah, you never would have thought.
2016, when when these things were planned and you knew that they were coming out in a year and 2 years, you would never have bet on that. And it just comes down to execution and vision.
Thank you.
It's one guy behind this. Yeah. It's Kevin Feige. Yeah. It's Kevin Feige's design over at Marvel. He's the head coach. He's the Bill Parcells, the Bill Belichick. He's the whatever, the Vince Lombardi, whatever great head coach you want to mention. He is the guy who had the vision, had the plan, surrounded himself with the right players. Yeah. Similar to Steve Jobs and everyone else. He had the vision. He stuck to it, and moderate success in the beginning. Iron Man was great, but they weren't really killing it with. Not insane numbers, but very, very strong for those characters. They just built on it smartly. Well, retooled every now and then, right? We remember Punisher Warzone. Didn't really work out too well, but they retooled. So.
But they retooled where they needed to, A. And B, but you just said that they built on characters. Like, they took characters who... it might not have been like A-level characters. Like the whole thing is like there was almost a sense of arrogance by DC going, oh, we got Justice League, we got Superman, we got Batman. Everybody
people are going to show up. They're going to pay us.
People are going to pay us no matter what. Where they went the completely opposite way over at Disney and Marvel, where they actually took characters that maybe weren't like their top rank, weren't the Spider-Mans, weren't their like. Awesome, like high level characters, and built them up, like built up character. Like people start, like I love Iron Man now, and I like before Robert Downey Jr. I wouldn't even known who he was.
I didn't. In the '90s, it was all X-Men, and then Image Comics with Spawn.
Exactly, that was it.
So I didn't read Iron Man at all.
There was no Iron and it's actually given us to go. It's gotten us to go back and see and retouch on that literature and retouch on those comic books where and now we know the folklore, but why? Because they introduced them slowly. Yeah. And they put origins. They put I know people don't look. We don't need another Batman origin. We don't need another Superman origin other than maybe little quick clips because we understand that. But Flash, Aquaman, I'm a DC guy, but like I'm really a Batman and a Superman guy. Like I really don't know the backstories of Aquaman and Flash. They never interested me as much.
And especially with the movie takes, like the Jason Momoa incarnation of Aquaman is a drastic change from previous incarnations of that character.
Yeah, like I've only seen it in like the cartoon versions and stuff like that. Like again, this is what casual fans came in, like looking around and they're like, everybody's lost.
Yeah, they were lost. Yeah,
everybody's lost, and sorry, DC execs, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. That's not on Zack Snyder. That's not on any of the writers. That's not anything. It's like you gave the guy 3 movies to get up to speed. Like, no, that's on you.
Yeah, to get to Avengers level, yeah. No, I totally agree. And it's too bad, too. When Man of Steel came out, I was so in.
Yeah.
I was so in, because I knew it was a departure from Donner, but on a strategic level, you kind of had to go that way, because Superman Returns with
Brandon Roth and
who's the director?
Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer, right? That was the ultimate Donner homage movie.
Yeah, it was absolutely
literally coming from Superman 2 into that.
And if it came out in '84, people would have loved it.
Probably, right? Didn't connect so well. So if you're the studio and the creatives, you're like, okay, we got to go somewhere different. Injustice is a very popular video game. What does Injustice have? Other dimension, slightly evil Superman.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, let's try to take more grounded. You also had Nolan involved, so he definitely wanted a more grounded vision. He's like, what if we did have this alien come in with the strength of a god, the ability of a god? How would we react? Let's talk about that. How would he feel growing up American? I was so in for all of it. It was just so cool. There were some things I didn't like Pa Kent dying wasn't down, but I was in and I understood. And I think this is where some of the audience got lost. And let me know what you guys think. But it's as if I think a lot of people just wanted to see the fully realized Superman, and I was okay with Man of Steel being just a sole Act 1.
Yes!
An Act 1 of a character figuring this out. He's Superman for 2 minutes. He's literally a day, just learns to fly, and then he's got to fight all these other things.
Yeah.
I liked seeing that struggle because it made you kind of empathize with a bit and understand his growth, and it was going to be... I think Snyder had you could see it all the way through, and if you read the original script and concept art of what was eventually going to be his true version of Justice League, like the 2.5-hour version, whatever, you were going to get that fully realized Superman at the end, but it was just going to take a few movies for him to get.
Well, and that's what you needed before. Okay, here my biggest issue, and no, with Superman versus Batman versus Superman was that you have this Superman who I understood what the hatred was from Batman, but then all of a sudden that complete switch, and to see that the guy's like you look at the comic books, people are built up, people are used to Superman, they've had him there, they become dependent on Superman. The time frame that the current DCEU had Superman kind of be Superman 4 wasn't enough for society to become dependent on him. Wasn't you've got the in Justice League, you've got Bruce Wayne going, he was a beacon of hope and all this. No, he wasn't. He was around for a couple months. You know what I mean? You understand, in the comic books, he's been that for years and years and years and years. People become dependent on him. People look up to him, and he becomes kind of in Watchmen, that Dr. Manhattan figure who's always been there, and you see him kind of rise up with the society, becomes synonymous with America.
Okay, yeah, it was. I see what you're saying. I disagree in a little bit. I really, when the first trailers for Batman v Superman came out, I was fucking so in again because what opened up False God.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, now he's talking about how the population would reject.
Oh no! At that point in time, yeah.
Right, and I loved how some went ultimate deity, where you had especially the Day of the Dead, where he saves them, everyone wants to touch them.
Yep.
And then other people being like, no, this guy's bad news for us.
No, you're right there.
I
no,
love that split.
At that point in time, yes, but it's the point in time in afterwards.
Like when he dies.
After he dies, and like everybody's like, he shouldn't have died at that point in time. There's no way that you introduce the death of Superman.
Death of Superman.
You don't introduce the death of Superman because he hasn't been around. You've just come from the fact that he's been split. That he's split the population. Right. So before you introduce the death of Superman and everybody to be like mourning him and everything like that, you'd have to unite those people to see a singular vision of Superman.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And defeating. I mean, obviously everyone was watching. Oh, there's this giant creature, and they try to make that the unification of look. He sacrificed himself.
No, it's too little. It's too little.
I don't think it's too little. I think it's too soon.
Too soon. That's what I meant. You're right. Too soon.
That's a big deal. I mean, someone sacrificed himself to destroy some
but too soon
killing monster.
And
it was very soon.
It's too soon, and because you had half the population of the world not liking him. Yes. He was a false god. So to be honest, they would have been good.
Yeah, you're actually right. Yeah, there'd be some people being like, you know what?
Yeah, this is the best possible thing that could have ever happened.
So-called saved him, saved us, but I'm glad both those aliens are dead.
Exactly.
None of them ever come back.
I hope none of them ever come back. There would be, I think, a large population of people like that.
There would be,
because you have
good riddance.
Because at this point in time, there hasn't been any establishment. That's the whole thing. Is if you look at the DC comic books, and if you look at any Superman, whether it's like a life version or a cartoon version or a comic version, he's been around. He's got tenure.
Yeah. No, you make it, and I think they were aware of that. Going into Justice League, at least in the edits, because I think the original version of Justice League, they were going to go full on dark. Steppenwolf was going to lead to Darkseid. I think it was supposed to be 2 parts, and they were going to do almost like a full on brainwashed, controlled, respawned Superman once he came back. That
Bizarro.
It wouldn't be like a total different entity, but it would be him kind of brainwashed.
Okay.
That they were going to do.
Closer to Injustice. Injustice. Yeah.
And once they brought Joss Whedon on, and he kind of did his edit and wrote it. That's when the movie begins. It's that awful cell phone footage of Superman, and that right there is just a forced video to try to get us to the point as quick as we can. To where you're talking about, where the public knows him, they love him. Hey, Superman! Yeah, what are you doing? Hey, kids!
And it's not there.
You can't do that in a cell phone video. You needed a full movie of him overcoming.
You need tenure. You need people. You need him to be there. And
you need some other stories.
You need some other stories. You remember and you need some little things. The whole thing is one of the best parts of the original Dawn movie. Remember when Superman comes and he saves the little girl's cat.
Yeah. It's cheesy, but that's the backbone of the character.
But that's the backbone of the character.
That's how you prove you're not a false god.
That's how you prove you're not a false god. Yeah. You're there not only for the big things, you're there for the little things.
The neighborhood, yeah. It's a shame that, because I know that they're aware of it, and I think Joss Whedon was definitely aware of it too. When they're having a big fight with Steppenwolf, and he's like, how can I help? Yeah. It's like, well, wait, I gotta go. I hear victims, and then he takes off. But at that point,
it's too little, too late,
and too fast. Right, because there's so much other stuff in Justice League
DC
going on.
execs, please note if you're listening. But again, this is all on you, DC execs. All on you. The creative. I don't blame the creative entities because you can see that they tried to put fixes in.
Yes.
To do it the best they could, but you can see that they were handcuffed. They were completely, utterly handcuffed,
and then switching exec teams all the time, different guys in charge, and at one point it's David Goyer and Jeff Johns, then it's these other guys. Now I think they've switched it again.
Guys, I don't know where you're from, but we're here from Toronto. There's a hockey team here. I don't know if you ever heard about it, and it's been a very similar thing. They used to be a great team, second most Stanley Cups ever won by a team by this city. They haven't won one since 62 or something like that, or 66.
late 60s,
and one of the major reasons is because Here in Toronto, it's actually what DC thought would happen is no matter how bad the team is, everybody here goes and watches them. Everybody just shows up all the time, hoping them. And they've been disjointed. They haven't had a singular vision. And they haven't like every time. Like I'm not a fan anymore. But anytime I go in, there's a new coach, there's a new player, there's a new captain, there's a new this, there's a new that. It's the same idea. Like you can't build an organization or build a winning team without a vision. Like we've been saying forever.
Yeah, good point. Got some questions into the chat here.
Yep.
Fernando Sebastian. I have a question. I might have a clue, but do you guys ever thought about Justice League and the aftermath with the fans reaching to Zack Snyder? Yeah, so I guess you're talking about, I'm assuming you're talking about like the Zack Snyder cut, releasing it.
Yeah.
So like that. I mean, I would have loved to have seen it if he could have done all of it.
Yeah.
But I think they dumped his vision very early on.
There's probably no footage there, and it would have to be 7 hours.
It probably would have to be, yeah. We shot a lot.
It would have, like, that's the unfortunate part. Like, no, like, it wouldn't be feasible in one movie, even an extended cut, even a 3-hour movie, to save the problems that we're talking about.
Yeah,
you know, like it wouldn't be there. You would almost need another 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah. There's been some deleted scenes released. Like, did you see the one Justice League deleted scene where he's still, like, his shirt's tattered, everything else. He's had the battle with Justice League and he's snapped out of it. He's gone to he's seen his mother.
Yep.
Again, she knows he's alive, and then he goes to the ship. Then he goes to the ship.
Yep.
And the black suit opens up and he looks at it. And then something else. I don't think he ever puts it on, but. Yeah, those scenes were good, but it's, again, you needed 3 more movies with other characters.
Yeah, like it just like, and especially no, like you had the standalone Wonder Woman, so she was established. You know, you've got 2 new characters in Flash and Aquaman being thrown in there. Batman, I think we all know enough about Batman, and there's been enough iterations about Batman that okay, I could see them not going a standalone film with Batman. But you needed some more establishment of this new Superman. We haven't had a Superman on the big screen since Christopher Reeves. The Brandon Routh was unfortunately a failure, and
Man of Steel was 2012.
Yeah,
and it was, you know, like it was Act 1.
It was Act 1.
The first growth phase.
We needed another phase of Superman before Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
You know, we needed it there, or even afterwards. It would have been fine because, like, again, to jump straight from Batman versus Superman to that. Because in another standalone Superman movie, you could have thrown in some more Flash, you could have thrown in some more Aquaman, and done a little bit of backstory. You could have done some more research or some visiting, just like the Avengers movies. They always have like people cameoing in and out.
Yeah.
You could have done that and at least given them a little more story. So at the very, very least, one more standalone Superman after Batman v Superman would have been needed.
Yeah, I agree. That's a shame. Now the question is, where do you go from here? Because I really like how it's cast.
That's the problem.
90% of it, I love how it's cast and where everyone was set up. It's just you're in a position now of.
Can we all agree to forget Justice League?
just start over.
Yeah, just like it never happened. All right, 2019.
Yeah, like you can't. I mean, Sony had zero fucks about. You know, when Spider-Man 2 came out, the second one with Andrew Garfield, and just did not do money-wise anywhere where what they wanted.
Later.
Yeah, they're like, okay, cut that one.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, Marvel, you guys do this well. you
just give us some money back.
Have your people call our people. Let's figure it out, right? Which was. So that was only like 2 or 3 years removed.
I'm in the same boat you are. I'm really scared to lose Gal Gadot.
Me too.
I don't want to lose Gal Gadot. She's amazing. Henry Cavill, I like him as Superman. I do. Like, I don't want to lose him. Affleck has again really come into his own as as Batman, up to Batman v Superman. I didn't really like him in Justice League. I think they went a little too campy, a little too Roger Moore.
They undercut him a bit.
You know what I mean? Like he went a little too, he was just a little too fluff. Yeah. And again, that's not what you don't want to move back to camp. Like, do you remember Joel Schumacher, DC? Do you remember? He apologized for doing the movies.
That is true.
Don't do it again.
I was trying to sell toys.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't do this again. But
it's just you're in a interesting situation now, because you definitely want to. I think you got to keep it Earth based, build towards going cosmic again, because to go right to dark side, I think you'll lose some of the people, because that's such a huge story on its own.
And you've got such good characters. You've got Joker. Yeah. Like, everybody's talking about, okay, Leto, don't give him a chance. The guy's a fucking phenomenal actor. Yeah, he's going to do something with Joker. Yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff cut.
There was a lot of stuff cut out of Suicide Squad, and he's there, and he's ready to go with that character. He'll do it. Like, you don't need a DiCaprio recasting of Joker.
They're talking about a Joaquin Phoenix,
like a Joaquin
stories from the 80s. There's just so much stuff all over the place. You don't really know where it's landing.
Look, you've got the characters. You've got Joker. You've got Lex Luthor. Like, you're bringing in Deadshot. Is it, or what's his?
That Deadshot's from Suicide Squad.
Not Deadshot.
Oh, Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Deathstroke.
You're bringing in Deathstroke. Okay, like, don't introduce like too many new people. You've got the core elements already there. You've introduced them in other movies. Use those people. Like, you've got enough rogues to create the Legion of Doom, or at least the beginning of the Legion of Doom, and introduce accordingly. Don't just throw in a bunch of throw in a movie that's like just. Give us another Superman movie. Just give me another Superman movie, man. Like, that's all I want. Let him build up some tenure. You know what I mean? Like,
because he's finally arrived. It's just a shame that we've burned through Dark Knight Returns storyline and Death of Superman storyline.
Yeah.
And the
just
coming together
and just touching them and just touching them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just burned up too fast. Like, those could have all been standalone. You didn't need to make it one movie.
Yeah,
it's a shame. So the big thing that everyone's talking about now is like the big reset is Flashpoint.
Yeah,
doing a Flashpoint time travel movie. But even to do Flashpoint, we haven't established the universe enough yet of what's going on with the interaction with these characters in order to appreciate some of the major storylines in Flashpoint, like the Amazons versus the Atlanteans. That happens in certain versions of it. I think there's multiple versions of Flashpoint throughout the area, but you kind of have to build a love and an understanding of Earth 1 and Timeline 1 right now, the Prime timeline, in order for us to have some sort of regret when Timeline 1 goes awry. Yeah. We don't even have Timeline 1.
No, we don't have. Timeline 1 is an absolute mess.
Yeah. And as much as I love to see the Thomas Wayne character of Batman.
Yeah, it's not ready. It's not time.
It's awesome.
It's not time.
But it's like, I always compare Batman v Superman and, well, not so much Justice League, but more Batman v Superman. After we watched it, I was like, it was kind of like a bowl of chips or like a bowl of candy or M&Ms that someone has at a party. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, like, you're gonna eat them. You're gonna be happy that you're there, right? And at the end, you're like,
I shouldn't have eaten.
I kind of shouldn't have eaten it, right? Like I should have been smarter with myself.
I'm gonna be comatose.
And that's what it was, right? Because at the time, you're like, yes, I want to see that. Yes, I want to see them fight. Yeah. Oh, you have the Dark Knight Returns actual armored suit. Fuck yeah, I want to see that on screen. Yeah, exactly. This all looks great.
The famous "Do you bleed" line, which
was so good. Like, if you watch our reactions, we were down for it all. Yeah. I even flipped out when Doomsday was kind of in it, but then looking back on it, it was just straight junk food.
It was junk food. Like, Doomsday was too much. Yeah. The whole it would have been fine if you didn't touch the Death of Superman storyline. If you had just kept it more Dark Knight and you had kept it a human, switched it a little bit, it had the mutant or the mutants that they had in the Dark Knight comic book or something like that. Have something Earth based that kind of that brought them together. would have been fine. You didn't need this monumental outside force.
It should have been like a Bizarro Zod, who would be the Bizarro Superman. Use his thing to have something super powered, because you needed something enormous for them to get together.
But you still, but you also have, like, again, there's big enough stuff in comic lore that the human-based villains have done that you could have given it to them. You know, Lex Luthor could have done something.
Well, he technically did, but
he could have done something Earthbound.
Yes.
Earth 1.
He didn't need to do Superman Doomsday.
He didn't need to do Doomsday. Like, he didn't have to go out that, just like the, you had like the storyline. You had the storyline with the white Portuguese and the Kryptonite. Like, have something, like, go on a little bit further there. Have something where, like, he's almost like, killing off Superman with the Kryptonite. Enforce the Kryptonite a little bit more. Maybe make it more powerful than it is. And then maybe have like another backlash of with a human opponent to Batman, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and you got the Lex suit that throws some.
The Lex suit is another great idea.
You're right. Yeah, and even if you brought on some other, like if you had like a Legion of Doom kind of thing. Because he was already recruiting. He was already recruiting and scouting out metahumans. That's why he had all those files on the Justice League heroes. He would have the villains too.
Bring in another villain. You know what I mean? Like which would have been fine. Like that would have been fine. And you still had some some large villains who still survived, like Suicide Squad and other ones that we could have introduced that were just human based, but that were powerful enough to create. At least the purpose for Batman and Superman to get together to fix this. And it didn't have to be.
And Suicide Squad itself, a really gutsy move, which could have paid off so well because it would have been something different.
Yeah.
But one, I think they gave David Ayer, the director, like 2 weeks to write it, and when we were watching it, I had fun watching it.
Yeah,
and I laughed, but there was at one point where I'm like, okay, this isn't what I expected going to be. I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah.
This is just some ridiculousness.
All
the ridiculousness centered around Enchantress as the main antagonist.
Yeah.
Right? I think if you get her out of the picture and it goes closer to Batman Assault on Arkham, which is essentially a Suicide Squad animated movie. Something like that, Earth-based, in Arkham, a lot of cameos. Batman still works in there, and they all have a reason to be there because they brought Harley along because there was an issue with the Joker.
Exactly.
Right. If him as the main villain of Suicide Squad, you get everything all together, and then it becomes an urban, gritty action.
So you get that going, and like again, what have we talked about? That Disney did is everything very Earth-based. At the beginning, and DC has better villains. They have villains. You could have an Earth-based for up to the first amalgamation of the Justice League. There's enough good villains that you don't even need to introduce, the outside the galaxy. Until maybe the second iteration of the Justice League that they need to come back.
Yeah, the perfect one would, which probably would have led to Brainiac or something.
Exactly.
Because you already had that sprinkle in. You had the sprinkle in Man of Steel #1 about for generations we colonized space.
Yeah.
So you now already know that these things exist.
Exactly.
You already had Kryptonians.
It's in the background.
Here.
It's in there.
Who else do they have, right?
Yeah.
Man of Steel 2, maybe it's just him and Luthor kind of thing, and then you build to a Brainiac Justice League.
Into a Brainiac Justice League.
Now you're full on cosmic, ready to go. Post-credit scene.
Yep.
Doomsday. Because the Doomsday was a creature,
or at least step
eons old,
or step, however you want to do it. Exactly. Like, keep it earthbound, and that's the huge kind of because you're coming out. It's almost like they went from two extremes. You're coming out of this Earthbound Dark Knight series, this Nolan Dark Knight series, which is amazing. It's completely earthbound, completely gritty, realistic, and everything like that. And then boom, they threw every cosmic character at you in 3 movies.
Yeah, which was wild. Yeah, and there was and even to go Mystic and Magic. With Enchantress, you could have waited for a Justice League Dark when we were ready for it, right?
When we were ready, exactly.
Right? But when did they bring in Doctor Strange?
You have enough,
and not to do this one or the other like Marvel's, but like we watch.
Yeah, we're comic book fans.
It's just like, executing a successful plan that brings in dollars and keeps things going. Okay. You could bring along the regular audience.
Yes, and B, let's not lie here. DC saw that the Avengers had a formula and they wanted to get to that formula as quickly as possible. But the thing is, they threw out half the ingredients along the way.
Yes, yeah, they microwaved it.
Yeah,
instead of slow cooking it.
Exactly, like you're not gonna get the same thing from a microwave that you're gonna get from a slow cooker.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of Brainiac, have you seen the trailer for the Krypton show?
No, I haven't yet.
They're doing Brainiac.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
It looked.
I'm happy they're doing that show to begin with.
I was on the fence.
I'm happy about
it. You're
a
Gotham fan.
I'm
right?
a huge Gotham fan.
With Gotham. Yeah, I fell off Gotham a while ago.
I like it. I think it's gritty. It's there. It's another world. It's not obviously like timelines are being played with and ages are being played with. Yeah. But it's good, like, and it's good to have like kind of like a mentor. I've always been a fan of mentors. Like, I like the fact of like they're showing like both Alfred and Gordon as kind of building up what Bruce Wayne becomes. I like it.
Gotcha. Cool. So in Krypton, you've got I forget who he is, but he's Kal-El's grandfather.
Yep.
Okay. And Adam Strange, the time traveler.
Yep.
Back in time to Krypton to warn them about Brainiac destroying everything.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a Skynet Terminator thing, because since Superman is the only thing stopping Brainiac in the present, he's like, I got to go back and kill his lineage so that this
grandfather effect,
so that his he's never around.
Yep.
So that's the premise.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and Brainiac looks great for a TV show.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit.
They're doing. I like what they're doing in the
really well.
Like again, like I love going back to Gotham. Like, I love the Penguin character. Like, it's a complete new reiteration of Penguin, but it fits. It just kind of fits. Like, it's a different storyline. And the one thing, like, we've talked about this before, is I don't mind different universes.
Yeah,
like I don't mind.
I like it in the comics. I read Elseworld stuff.
Yeah, I read the Elseworld stuff too. Like everything doesn't have to come together. Like, and this is where like DC could have gone on a different road, right? Like, I've always thought that, you know, like they've got such great standalone graphic novels. Like, throw in some of these, you know what I mean? Like, throw and like, you don't need to do or they didn't have to go the same route Avengers were, and especially the way they did it by microwaving it, like we said before. They went at it so quickly. They could have taken some time, built up their characters, built up the main DCEU, and then thrown in more of their side projects, more of their Vertigo line or something like that. Like, I still love like 2005's V for Vendetta. Like, throw more of those in there. Like,
yeah. And they're doing interesting stuff like that in the books.
Yeah.
Like, whereas DC Films and the DC, I don't even know if you call it DCEU anymore, but the film division is struggling. The comic book publishing side of things is doing much better than Marvel side.
Yeah.
Sales wise, yeah. Like, the DC Rebirth has really caught on, where they've. Yeah. I mean, you always have to reboot your. Comic universe a lot, but this.
I didn't like the ideas of New 52. New 52, yeah. Like,
you're not alone in that, because Rebirth has kind of taken each character and brought kind of each one the more beloved versions of them and backstories and brought them back, and now they've weaved in the Watchmen with this Doomsday Clock,
which is cool. Like, you were talking about that before, right? Yeah. And like, I love that, and it's like, again, like, people, if you're watching this, and like, don't be soured on Zack Snyder. Go back and watch his Watchmen movie. It's still one of the best comic book movies, I think, of all time.
I love it. Yeah, it's really good.
Like it is brilliant, and and he took Alan Moore's essence of the storyline, modernized it just enough, and I think even made it better in some points. We've talked about that too.
Yeah, I definitely dig the switch out for instead of having that monster.
The alien not the alien, the monster. Yeah,
having.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for Watchmen. Which is, the comic book is 30+ years old.
Exactly.
Making it Dr. Manhattan as the kind of catalyst.
Yeah.
The scapegoat.
And that he was, and the fact that like the most brilliant entity who wasn't even human at that point in time was basically marionetted.
Yeah, by Ozymandias.
By Ozymandias, and it's just
really
like
cool.
it's a very good.
All right. Fernando's asking a personal question to you guys. Clearly, you are comic book fans. What about movies, sci-fi, and superheroes? Or you guys consider yourself film enthusiasts as well? Yeah, we like entertain me. Film from all over the place.
Yeah, I'm actually like a film student from the University of Toronto. Like that was one of my minor in school. So I've gone the whole gambit of film. Like back from Godard to like French New Wave and all anything you can imagine, Louis Buñuel, and any type of film history. So I really run the gamut on what I've seen and what I watch, and that's what I think and when we talked about assembling this group of Hero Lair, that's what I always wanted to bring, was like kind of like speak more to like the cinematography of something, speak more to the kind of, because a lot of these directors, they studied like these older films in school, and there's there's so many homages that a lot of people don't see. Like one of my favorite things of Batman versus Superman, which is a very little clip, but like you've got Lex Luthor like when he trapped Lois Lane, he's spouting the lines from Lolita.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Which is like, again, like you're talking about
Stanley Kubrick.
Well, Kubrick did it, and it was remade later on, and it's based on Nabokov's novel, which is amazing. It's just the fact that they throw in little things like that not just the comic book fan's gonna pick up. A film fan will pick up.
Yeah, and that's Zack Snyder to a T. He does that so many times. Every time he's used the
Excalibur. I was just gonna say one of my favorite movies of all time. By the way, John Borman's Excalibur. If any of you guys have not seen it, I think it was 1983. John Borman, and it's like I think it was like Gabriel Breen's first movie, Liam Neeson's first movie.
Sean Connery in that or not?
No, not Sean Connery. Captain Jean-Luc. What's his?
Oh, he's in that?
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart?
Patrick Stewart's really, one of his early movies.
Cool.
So you're talking about one of the catalysts. It was basically it was basically like England, Ireland's version of The Outsiders.
Cool.
And what Outsiders obviously brought in like Patrick Swayze, Tom Cruise, and all these seminal actors, and that's what I mean by it.
This one was the first so many
popular actors coming out. Helen Mirren,
English actors.
Yeah, Helen Mirren's in it.
Oh, who's she?
She's the Morgana, the bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Helen Mirren.
Cool, very cool. I didn't know that. I remember it being a very influential film. I didn't.
Definitely again one of my favorite films of all time, and it's just sci-fi, fantasy. Lord of the Rings was a seminal part of our friendship, like going watching those, and
Lord of the
like
Rings is huge, even later, like you're really, once you finally get to see Godfather, once you finally get to see Black Panther, you're gonna see elements of Godfather.
Yeah,
you're gonna get to see elements. There's a few other movies that you're gonna get to see a lot of Bond. There's a lot of Bond inspiration in the Black Panther, and it's a really excellent mishmash.
And it's great. So especially when you see like these over encompassing homages, like you've got English film, you've got French film, you've got like it's amazing to see like what's his name, Spielberg with Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Remember he uses Francois Truffaut as one of the directors he studied as the doctor or the scientist who follows them around, the French scientist follows them around. So there's always little homages once you see in films. Don't underestimate these directors of today. Like they are steeped. Quentin Tarantino, steeped in film. He's watched
the
everything.
Most obscure references. Most obscure. But he literally has seen everything. I remember Kevin Smith showed him a cut of Clerks 2, and he's like, he's not gonna fucking have ever seen my shit. And sure enough, Quentin Tarantino's seen Clerks. And remembered scenes and could pull them out, be like, oh, this is just like back in the first one. And Kevin Smith's like, what the hell? You watched my?
It's out of nowhere. He is a cinephile. Absolute cinephile.
Wow. Did you see Kevin Smith? Speaking of Kevin Smith, he had a heart attack.
I saw that. What the hell?
Fucked up, eh? Yeah. Could have been gone.
Yeah, I mean, love that guy.
Don't know how much time you got left.
What do we
got? Red Sea Munzer. Have you guys seen Netflix's Altered Carbon or The Ritual? Excellent horror movie. Ritual, I have not, but I've heard good things. And Altered Carbon, I crushed it within like 3 days.
Well, I still haven't seen it. I've heard good things about them both.
It's cool. It's it was definitely very ambitious, which is cool that Netflix has the balls to do it.
They do, though.
It has that. The only thing, I mean, it very steeped in Blade Runner.
Okay.
So it's kind of, having watched, Blade Runner 2049 and then this, it's like kind of the same.
Yeah.
Like they're very similar. There's a lot. I think the only thing that I kind of suffered a little bit is that I think the novel was written like 20 years ago. So there's still some of these, I guess what was then it doesn't even seem that long ago, but there's just certain things in sci-fi when they're talking about a future that just doesn't seem plausible.
Anymore.
Not plausible, but like, no, you wouldn't do that. That's kind of it's not a more efficient way of doing things. Right? But I think you kind of need someone now.
That's a great point.
At the time, it would have been fine. And we've seen this like with 90s. Like the 90s hacker movies are always terrible. Like it's always
but just in general,
ridiculous line.
But that's a great point. But you look back at like Clockwork Orange or something like that, like the 60s versions of the future. Everything was being made smaller. Everything was like they actually went the opposite way with like cell phones today. Actually, they're making them bigger,
larger screens.
Larger screens. So it's like a lot of the concepts and the ideas that people had in the 60s, 70s, 80s when they were writing about the future then was the 90s and like early 2000s completely went out the window because like again people's tastes and things. So I see that all the time, and but it's almost like in a way I enjoy watching like Clockwork Orange for their way they thought. Did they really think this was going to be the future? It's funny. It's good.
And then you can't hold it against them. It's just kind of how that was the outlook and the creative outlook at the time that futurists were saying. A lot of this stuff you couldn't predict, like ride sharing. Of how easily, because we'd be like, well, what, I got to call him and then he's got to meet me somewhere, and just everyone having a GPS in your pocket, and things like that. But it's those things are sprinkled throughout Altered Carbon, but for the most part, it's a very cool cyberpunk noir storyline that is well worth your time seeing it. It doesn't hit a home run how not that Westworld's cyberpunk, but it doesn't hit a home run that way. But Westworld's such a crazy dystopian sci-fi story that way. This one skips the line of action, clever ideas, dystopian outlook.
I love that.
There's just so much going on for 10 episodes or whatever it is, but it's well worth a watch. So, awesome. And then we'll check out The Ritual another time. George Borges, I see you in there. You couldn't predict millennials. Yeah, it's a good point, sir.
Yeah, you're right. It's
unless you say a hard society breeds better living standards, and the better living standards breeds a softer society.
Which is the whole socialist like Leninism and all that happened, right? Which is you can't, and that's a good point, right? And that's something like and there's going to be a backlash at every point. You're right, a hard society creates a soft society, which then creates a hard society, which then creates a soft society. It becomes cyclical, so it'll come back.
Damn, missed you, Meatheads, Red Zeb Munzer. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, any other questions, guys? Throw them in there. We'll do like another 5 minutes and then get on with our night. But expect we're gonna try to do this at least once a week. Get some other stuff rolling on the channel. I know we've been intermittently, but I think this is the way. If we can just get the few of us together, once a week, crush out an hour rather than just doing.
And if there's any, and this is great too, is like that we got some other ideas of like topics and movies. Like if there's anything else you want to go, like again, we're trying to keep within the theme of superheroes and science fiction and the whole Hero Lair concept. Yeah. But as long as it like deviates from that, like the whole like we can talk about it. So again, any ideas around that.
Yeah, it'll probably like when we get Sean on here, me and him are gonna talk video games.
Yeah, well, and that's the whole idea, right? And like I've got like my main thing is like I've moved my kind of spare time, my hobbies is in the collecting world. As like I collect a lot of the props and the action figures and things of that nature. So we want to bring more to you guys, the fans. So if there's anything you guys like and want us to talk about, kind of that's in and around the films, please feel free to throw it in the comments and questions, because that's something that we love. Like I'm a huge collectible guy. Like we'll definitely be doing some more videos later on once I have everything set up. And
any cool Infinity War Hot Toys stuff here?
Well, the Infinity War.
I've seen the Gauntlet.
The Gauntlet looks amazing. Wow. I definitely want to get the Gauntlet. Yeah. I've been looking at a lot of the stuff. Like again, because I haven't there's so much cool Black Panther stuff out there, but I've been avoiding it because
there might be spoilers attached.
There might be spoilers attached to it, so I've been really avoiding that. But like, such a seminal character. Like, it came, and again, a character that wasn't in the forefront. Like, I love how Marvel's done that. So like, there's a lot. Like my Marvel collection. Like again, like I was. Before Disney took over Marvel, I was a Spider-Man fan, and I liked some of the Hulk. Mm-hmm. That was the only Marvel I touched. Mm-hmm. Or I shouldn't say that, the Blade series, the Wesley Snipes series, was a big fan of that. But then, other than that, like anything Marvel was I was found a campy, very kind of like thing. Like X-Men, the cartoons were alright when I was growing up and whatnot, but I wasn't like focused in on that. I was much more into like the Batman stuff and into like,
especially
the darker,
especially in the late 80s. I could see that when you're hitting that 10 to 13 years old, you kind of need a little bit more to bite off of. And Dark Knight and the darker incarnations of Batman and Joker just appeases that.
It really does. And if any of you guys have ever, like, there was a synopsis written to Dark Knight by Alan Moore that really goes into that, just what you said, and how we kind of crave a society like that, kind of grittier, darker, like especially at that time in the world, you know what I mean? Like the society wanted somebody who would like stand up for them and stand up for their rights and be like that kind of like the almost what Rorschach is now, you know what I mean? Like that character who would do what you couldn't do.
Gotcha. Fernando's in here with another question. Fernando asks, what would be your top 5 DC films so far, or of all time, and your top 5 Marvel films? DC for me, I mean, I know it's a lot of people's number one, and I may be, might be cliche by now, but I really enjoyed Nolan's The Dark Knight.
Yeah, it's number one for sure with me too.
That was just...
Heath Ledger's performance is brilliant in every possible way. Like, there's so much to it. Yeah. There's so even like the it's ridiculous, but like the at the end where the two ships going off, that is something I studied in school, because my other minor was economics, so like that's The Prisoner's Dilemma. It's a famous kind of like economic or math like quiz question where like if you take like these two entities, like what will happen? It's literally called The Prisoner's Dilemma,
which is a genius plot point and climactic action point for any storyline, and to throw it into a Batman versus Joker movie.
It's absolutely brilliant.
So genius.
And then you have and then the overtones of like Tale of Two Cities. Yeah, you know, like going through the whole thing, and the overtone. Oh no, that's Dark Knight Rises, not my bad now. But like the overtone of Heat.
Yes.
You know, like again, we're talking about movie homages, right?
Nolan took a lot of inspiration from Heat.
He took like even from like that singular tone, like the throughout the early beginnings. Those are all counterpoints to Michael Mann's Heat.
Yeah, yeah. And we could talk for an hour on.
Yeah, so that's Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight number one for sure.
I think I would throw Batman Begins number 2. I love that one so much.
It's great. It's great.
I would put, even though it's cheesy, I would put the Superman the movie.
Which
3.
one?
The Superman the movie, the first
original
76. You Will Believe a Man Could Fly.
Yeah.
Right. It's a DC movie. Right. I think I go Watchmen 4.
Yep.
And it's a hard one, Sebastian. I mean, I want to put the Keaton Batman in there, or at least Batman Returns in there somewhere. Just it doesn't. I think if you gave me right now Batman v Superman, and I know I'm going to forget something. If you give to me right now Batman v Superman and any of the Keaton Batmans right in front of me, putting on Batman v Superman.
See,
I really had a good time with that movie, regardless of its flaws. I really liked it, especially the extended version too.
Yeah,
there was just a lot of cool shit going on.
So for me, Dark Knight number 1. I like Watchmen number 2. You know, Watchmen number 2 was a seminal movie for me. Number 3 would be V for Vendetta. Like it was a great DC movie, and like it spawned Anonymous. You know what I mean? Like it's like if you guys haven't seen that, it's amazing. Number 4, I would put back to Superman. Donner's first Superman, because again that was a seminal part of history where, like, again, I believe that the whole you will believe a man can fly was huge. And number 5, because I grew up and I did touch, I'd have to, I'm not going to put 89's Batman, I'm going to put Batman Returns, because I like the fact that Tim Burton went darker and went like he took the aspects of Batman which I liked, the darkness and all that. Again, being 13 at the time, 13 to 15 when they came out. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted my superheroes to be gritty, to be, you know, dark, to not necessarily realistic, because they weren't. They were altered in realism. But I liked it, and you know, like you throw in a little bit of sexual innuendo and everything that they had with Catwoman and whatnot, and the whole vinyl.
That thing was definitely an extremely original take.
Yeah, I really enjoy, and even Danny DeVito. His whole characters.
I even really enjoy, and Dark Knight Rises I enjoy too. There's just so many others.
Yeah,
I like Constantine. Remember the Keanu Reeves?
Oh, I love Constantine. Yeah,
that was a good one. I mean, I think that would be kind of top 10 for me.
Yeah, like it was well done as well. You know, like who was the devil in that? He was great, Lucifer.
Oh yeah, he always plays
that actor's
villain
great.
Guy. Yeah, I forget his name. Like, he gets a lot of work.
But just the way he kind of portrayed, like the kind of like the slick, slimy kind of used car salesman.
Yeah. That movie was excellent.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, and who I forget her name, but she's a very well tenured actress who played Gabriel.
Yeah,
and she had the right look, that androgynous look of like
gender
neutral.
Yeah, she was great. Cool, absolutely great too.
Marvel movies. Number 1, I gotta go with. It's so hard. It's a tie for number 1 for me.
Okay.
Civil War and Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Both Captain America movies, but they're tied for number 1. I remember when I watched Captain America, I was like, I didn't know. It's like I was watching Die Hard, or I was watching some of the best Bond movies.
Yeah.
I was like, this action is on point. Like everything was just like from what was because I didn't like the Captain America: First Avenger too much. I saw it, I'm like, whatever this is, and it just hit like a solid 80s action movie. I loved it, and the twist, loved it. And then Civil War, me and Sims just did, Sean just did a audio commentary to Civil War.
Yeah.
We're starting up our Patreon channel, so every month we'll hopefully do some audio commentary tracks to favorite movies we have. We just did Civil War.
Awesome.
And that thing holds up, man. Just like how fun it is, the action that you always dreamt of a splash page coming out, how well everything's done, how well, that's how you introduce new characters, because they introduce Black Panther and Spider-Man in that, and both crush, and you connect with them, and you get both where they're coming from. Everyone had it, even just coordinating that action where it doesn't look ridiculous. Just both those are great. Number 2, I'm gonna go X-Men 2 from like 2001. I can remember. I think me, Josh, and some other guys from the football team went to go see it. Yeah. And we saw the first X-Men. We're like, oh, this is cool. But X-Men 2 was like the X-Men we were waiting. Yeah. As close to a realized version of what we were hoping for. Like right from the beginning, where Nightcrawler is bamfing in and out, fucking everybody up, and you've never seen anything like that before. It was so cool. And then ending with the hint at the Phoenix. Yeah, the Dark Phoenix. Yeah. Kind of started that little tag at the end for the next movie. That's the very first one I can remember where the Marvel movies were doing that. It was just done so well. You got to see Colossus. Yeah. You got to see more of the Weapon X program. Yep. And they kind of fudged the story of Lady Deathstrike, but it was cool enough. But there was just so much that movie did right that we had never seen before. Yeah. It was really cool. So that one's number 2, and I'm cheating because I got Winter Soldier, Civil War tied for first. Yeah. Number 2, X-Men United. Number 3, I think I got to go Iron Man. Okay. For number 3, and I know they've changed that formula a lot, but it was just everything was just done so well, and it's such a tight story. Yeah. And just a complete character arc. Yeah. For Tony Stark, like everything in that movie works. Yeah. Everything works.
That's in mind for sure.
You know what? I'm gonna throw in the first Blade.
Yeah,
I had a great time. The first Blade was so
cool.
I
just spoke about it. I'm going to throw it in mine too. Yeah, so
I'll let you talk on that one more. But that one was just so much fun to watch. Like you had to, and that was a time where you wouldn't really go too many times to see these as much as we do now. But I think that one I legit went like 2 or 3 times. Okay, and I was like, this one's just incredible. It was just so different. Yep. Number 5 Marvel movie. I'm gonna go with Avengers.
Okay, the first Avenger?
Yeah. It was such an accumulation of a build-up of 4 years, something that you hadn't really seen before. There'd never been a team-up movie like that before. Entertaining, the best realization of the Hulk that we've ever seen. By far. Right? Previously the other ones, the Ang Lee Hulk was, total waste. Yeah. The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, which, is still in the canon of the MCU. Yeah. Did a lot of good stuff. It was really cool. And guys that are from Toronto, you get to see, Abomination and Hulk fight on Yonge Street. Yeah, exactly. But it just wasn't, it just had to make another leap. Yeah. Right? And that Avengers Hulk. Yeah. Everything just
Hickson Gracie was in it too.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's doing the breathing techniques. Yeah.
Gracie Jiu-Jitsu number 1.
Yeah. So I think that's my 5. I know I'm forgetting.
All right. Number 1, Logan.
Oh fuck yeah! See, fuck. What do I have to take out now? Yeah. That one's tied. How did I fucking forget Logan? Yeah. I'm an idiot. That one's also tied for first. Logan's incredible.
Yeah, of course it's incredible.
You forget that's a Marvel movie.
Exactly, because it goes so far. Like he's almost on his own. Yeah. You're right, but
it's a western. It's a tragedy. It's a drama.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. It's a western. Amazing. Yeah. Like the whole thing, and just with with the older Professor Xavier, you know what I mean, and just like the way he kind of took care of him, and it's like it brought everything together. Like I loved a lot of the X-Men. Like it can't be like X-Men 3, but like they fixed it with First Class, and like there's Apocalypse wasn't but still, like overall, like the X-Men series I think has been very well done. But Logan brought everything together so well and had that overarching Western feel to it. Right. You had him I love that kind of he was at the end of his life and he's bitter. He's just trying to make things right. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So by far my favorite.
But Professor X losing his mind.
Like
that, and then when you learn all the tragedies that befell them through the years, and even though they happen off screen, it almost makes it even worse.
It's one of the scariest things you can ever think
it's a fucking nightmare.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And we're thinking about it as like normal humans, and he was that much more as Professor X. You know what I mean? Because everything was compounded over and over again. So definitely by far my favorite Marvel movie. Second, I'm gonna have to go way back to Blade, because the first Blade was great. It was so much fun. It was, again, it showed that, like, to me anyways, because the way I grew up, Blade was like a badass. He was just like that badass character, you always had I always kind of thought of Marvel again, and this was skewed because I when I was younger especially, I would pick a camp. I was in the DC camp. That's it. There's no you couldn't confuse me in anything. So he was that kind of badass, because he seemed different than kind of the fluffier the Marvel guys at that time. Captain America was straight laced Captain America.
Yeah, well, he's in line with the Punisher.
Yeah,
it's
and that's
I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna kill you. And again, going back to, I think I like the whole vampire ethos and idea. I like that in general. As far as a movie fan, I love the Interview for a Vampire, all those type. The Bram Stoker's Dracula by Coppola, it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Any movie where vampires don't shimmer and
we don't talk about anything like that. And so that would definitely be number 2. First Class would be number 3, because First Class really kind of brought it back to me. I really liked the kind of the two-tone, the professor, the young Professor X, old Professor X, and the young and Michael Fassbender. What did he made Magneto
that Magneto storyline was that was sorry to cut you off, but that was taken. The Magneto storyline in First Class was originally a segment which I think was in a Magneto Origins movie. If Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine had hit, they were going to do a Magneto one of him killing Nazis in Argentina. But that whole storyline was great, and it works so well from the opening Auschwitz scene of X-Men, which is the last thing you would ever think they would open up with. Such a
bleak and gritty scene. So and Magneto made that movie for me, and it made Fassbender is brilliant, and he catapulted him to the one thing that just in general with villains is the more a villain can get you to empathize with him, the more I find the better villain he can be. And I empathized with Magneto. I'm fuck, if that happened to me, I'd be a fucking son of a bitch too. You know what I mean? I want to give a shit. You caused the death of my family, of my daughter and my wife.
And then you kept me and tortured me and turned me into this.
I'm gonna destroy every one of you. And not even think twice.
I need to watch. I need to watch that one again. It's been a while.
It is so definitely there. I like fun movies. I like just things so Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man.
You like the first one better than number 2 with Doc Ock?
The first one, just because of the whole it was just introduced. You know what I mean? I liked the whole and I liked Tobey Maguire, the one character, again, so the 2 characters I grew up that I liked from Marvel before I saw the Blade movie, but when I was a kid that I liked from Marvel were Spider-Man and the Hulk. Those 2 I always liked. And it was kind of the Spider-Man of my childhood. You know what I mean? It was he was this young, nerdy, kind of kid who just didn't know. I thought Tobey caught that very well. So that's one thing that I really enjoy. That number 5 is gonna be, well, you talked about it, was X-Men 2. X-Men 2 was You know what I mean? For its time, and again, it all comes back to Hugh Jackman, because I think Hugh Jackman's amazing. Like, just his whole arch again of him kind of being like that badass that nobody really liked, that outsider, and you're like trying to go after the girl. And I've always liked, you know, like again, as a movie buff, I've always loved like a little bit of a love triangle where two people are like fighting over someone else's emotion, and like, you know, when somebody's with somebody but they know they should be with somebody else, but they feel like, oh, but society, the parents or whatever makes them stay with whoever they're with, and like, even though, no, I should just jump out, jump on the back of the bike with him and run off.
Cool. We both have to amend our lists, because we both forgot one that's our favorites.
Yeah,
we forgot Deadpool.
Yeah, of course, Deadpool too. Yeah.
That's
Deadpool was brilliant. Somewhere. Like, that's got to go somewhere as well.
But and you're right. Like, isn't it great that we've watched so many awesome comic book movies that we're fucking forgetting about awesome ones that were put on the spot? Yeah, this wasn't the deal before. Before it was like, well, you know,
Dolph Lundgren as Captain
That's what you had. Yeah, you had Dolph Lundgren and some terrible Doctor Strange movie that someone had on VHS.
You know what I mean?
And then that unreleased Fantastic Four movie. Yeah, and then the actual released Fantastic Four movies.
Or the 1943, you know, Batman and Robin serial.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Sometimes you just can't get rid of them all. Yeah, that's right. You had years in between.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, so that's why. Excellent question, Fernando. All right, so we're going to end on this one. Thanks to George Borges. George Borges, what? Howard the Duck 86 doesn't make your list? Yeah.
If our friend Frank Hoffman was here, that would have been the number one movie.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give some respect to Howard the Duck. I remember. I watched it quite a few times. All right, guys. That's it. Hopefully we'll get to do this once a week. Thanks so much to those of you that chimed in. Check this out. Sorry for any technical glitches. We're learning on the fly as we go. Yeah,
and the camera will probably still be on for the next 5 minutes while we're trying to. You know,
don't laugh, and if we say it, don't be recording.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the Oscars. We'll hang out with you guys real soon. Bye.
Talk to you soon.